Israel bombs a Gaza school turned shelter, killing 36 people, many of them children. As Lando Norris roars to Formula One victory in Monaco, robots battle it out for the top prize in the first humanoid competition in China. At 1,068 murders in just 3 months, Western Cape remains the #1 murder province in the country. Hello, I'm Jane Dutton.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Western Cape police stations continue to feature in the top 10 with the highest number of murders reported in the country. The Western Cape Police Commissioner, Thembisile Patekile, released the province's crime statistics today. 1,068 murders were recorded in the province between January and March this year. There's 44 fewer murders compared to the same period last year.
Under crime dependent on police action, such as drugs, 25 Western Cape stations feature on the national list where we went out to retrieve drugs. This is indicative of the proactive policing operations, raids, search and seizures, as well as other operational activities where they confiscate drugs. A positive reflection on our part, while others would argue that the quantities and operational activities indicate prevalence of drugs in communities. But we go and get it. We go and get it out there and bring it back. If we were not to be doing that, the situation would be different from what we're seeing now.
A neighbour who tried to save a family from a deadly shack fire in the early hours of this morning has described the final moments before 6 family members lost their lives. Klaas Mabena says he was woken by screams and the glow of flames and rushed to help, but it was too late. The blaze tore through a single structure in the Johannesburg East informal settlement of Marikana, claiming the lives of 6 family members.
They were crying, like, help us, help us. But when I break through the window, I called for the young one. I said, throw the youngest one on the window, because I broke the window. I tried to pull it just to throw the baby out so that I can save one, but
Criminal defence attorney William Booth says Kelly Smith and 2 others could be in for a tough time when sentencing proceedings get underway in the kidnapping and human trafficking case of little Jocelyn Smith this week. Kelly, Jacquinopolis and Stefano van Rijn were found guilty last month of having a hand in the girl's disappearance more than a year ago. There are claims Jocelyn may have been sold to a traditional healer for 20,000 rand. Booth says the lack of remorse from the trio may work against them in sentencing.
A sentence of life imprisonment can potentially be imposed for the offence of human trafficking. A court can, after hearing all the arguments for and against, determine that there are substantial and compelling circumstances which could justify a lesser sentence.
The South African Defence Force has refuted claims that the returning troops from Democratic Republic of Congo have surrendered their weapons while transiting through Rwanda. Yesterday, City Press published an article stating that the SNDF soldiers are without weapons. The National Defence Force is accusing the author of the article of not verifying the information that was published with them, but the journalist had spoken to the head of SADC planning in the Department of Political Defence and Security.
The article is not factual, but sensationalist, and it appears to be aimed at creating panic and discrediting all involved. We view this irresponsible reporting in a serious light with a potential to compromise the safety of our troops.
The EFF Youth Command in Soweto has given Obstacle Adventure Park Total Ninja 5 working days to compensate a woman whose leg was amputated following an injury on their facilities in Northgate in Joburg. The company's management met with the victim, Ketiwe Ngomezulu, and the EFF on Saturday, demanding accountability for the incident. Ngomezulu fell while using their indoor obstacle course last month, claiming she was left unattended by the staff for several hours. The EFF calls for compensation among demands the party made at the meeting and include payment of her medical bills, a prosthetic leg, a monthly stipend, and the employment of 2 of her siblings.
That is all we wanted. from the first place. We wanted the company to, take ownership and take accountability of the situation and not just let Ketue be on her own and suffer all the stress, the trauma.
A 28-year-old alleged cyberbully made a brief appearance in the Cape Town Magistrates Court for allegedly threatening President Cyril Ramaphosa, Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis, and a prominent businesswoman. Sabelo Masango was arrested in Germiston on Friday after allegedly making the threats to the CEO last week. The accused faces charges of contravening the Cyber Act and assault. When asked if his legal representation, he told the court his lawyers in Italy and South Africa. He's charged with 5 counts of contravention of the Cybercrimes Act and 2 counts of assault, all relating to the messages he sent. The matter has been postponed until the 2nd of June for Masango to get legal representation. Hamas has accepted a Gaza ceasefire proposal presented by mediators. It reportedly involves the releasing of 10 hostages in 2 batches and a 70-day truce. Negotiations will begin on a permanent ceasefire with American guarantees. This comes after Israeli strikes in the Gaza Strip killed at least 52 people, more than 30 of them in a school-turned-shelter. The Civil Defense Agency said many of the casualties at the school in Gaza City were children, at least 18 of them, while the Israeli military said the site was housing, quote, key terrorists. Israel has stepped up a renewed offensive to destroy Hamas, which has drawn international condemnation. World leaders meeting in Spain called for an end to the, quote, inhumane and, quote, senseless war, while aid groups said the trickle of aid is not nearly enough to staunch the hunger and health crisis. So what drove Lando Norris to such an impressive victory in Sunday's Monaco Grand Prix? McLaren team chief Zak Brown said a change of mentality was the key to the British driver's success. It was a much-needed win for Norris, his 2nd of the year after a season-opening victory in Australia, and trimmed McLaren teammate Oscar Piastri's lead in the title race to 3 points after 8 of 2025's 24 races. In China, the world's first humanoid tournament has kicked off in the east of the country. Engine AI aims to showcase cutting-edge breakthrough in AI and robotics. Hundreds of fans watched on as 2 robots traded punches, with the event included both fighting demonstrations and matches. This marks the world's first combat sports event featuring the robots. According to the Chinese Institute of Electronics, the humanoid robot market is projected to reach about $120 billion by 2030. We'll wrap the bulletin up with that, and we'll see you for more again tomorrow.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.